From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of evenings in LA, direct from Santa Monica, California, tonight with your fourth stimulus check update of 2022, as not one, not two, but three major checks have landed. Have you got to them? Yes, Joe Biden made it law and has sent out those four stimulus checks. A $6,500 check has landed. It became law March 31st. Have you gotten it? Tonight I'll show you how to get it. A $15,000 to $80,000 check landed March 4th. It has been paying out ever since. Have you gotten it? I'm going to show you how you can still get it. And an MSC check up to 12 months, averaging $2,000 a pop, has landed. I'll show you how to get it tonight. In tonight's big recording from the shores of Santa Monica, California, we're just getting started. But Build Back Better Act and SS300 got major economic data today. And what was that economic data? Topsy-turvy. A year ago today, there were 18 million Americans unemployed. Tonight, there's only 1.7 million. In fact, tonight, there is 5 jobs available for every unemployed American. A year ago, there were no jobs. This is a great major beat on the economic front. This may signal higher interest rates, as Bullard, your Fed governor out of St. Louis, said yesterday he wants 300 basis point increase in just a few months. That would be half basis point over 6 months. What does this do for SS300? All the latest details tonight. Meantime, Build Back Better Act. What does this major economic twist and turn do for Build Back Better? Well, very fascinating, because we had a lot of other misses for economic data. GDP major miss on the growth rate of the U.S. economy not growing as expected. The housing market slumping. The auto industry slumping. And the farming industry also struggling. That's why we need 6 stimulus. All the latest details in tonight's recording about 6 stimulus. That is what was caused by Putin. And also to battle recession. Then, of course, we'll be looking at 7 stimulus, heating up with student loan debt forgiveness just a few days away. Will the president forgive that student loan debt? Boy, we got a big broadcast tonight. Lots of checks and lots of moving parts. The way it works, when the economy's weaker, we need more stimulus. When the economy's more robust, maybe not. Tonight, we have economic data going left and right. That's why I'm going to analyze all the details you need to know. We're going to look at the frozen elements and the fluid elements. We're going to look at what's going on, what we know and what we don't know. And we're going to go over those big checks that are reality, that are law, and they're paid out, and that you can get starting this evening. And this, my friends, is America's most watched show in financial news in prime time. Evenings LA starts right now. And good evening, everybody. It's a very good night with a lot of economic data that seems to contradict itself. First, the economy looks like it's stalling up, then it looks like it's too robust. The good news is 3 checks have landed, and I'm going to show you tonight in this recording how to get these 3 checks. They are in people's wallets. They should be in yours. Stay with me. I'm going to show you how to get these big checks. A $6,500 check became a law March 31st. $15,000 to $80,000 check became law just a few weeks thereafter. And $24,000 amounting to $2,000 a month automatic, reoccurring MSC checks over 12 months became law over a year ago. Have you gotten it tonight? I'm going to show you how to get it. They're all for those incredible members of this channel. Have you become a member? Go to the top of the chat in the pinned comment, become a member, get that incredible newsletter after tonight's recording at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. We're going to go over each of these incredible checks in just a second. Stay to the very end, because I got a big surprise for you in the very end of this broadcast. But first, tonight, as we go into a very fluid situation, we have a lot of economic data that came live today for April 7th, 2022, and it was contradictory. We have unemployment numbers very robust, very strong. GDP and other numbers weak across the board. Signaling confusion for SS300 and Build Back Better. We're going to analyze it and make it simple, starting right now. We're going to start first with the Build Back Better bill, the fourth stimulus recon that is currently still in the Senate. Pays you about $15,000 to $80,000 of checks across 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. Let's look at those incredible checks with the first cluster starting right now. Hazard pay got in there for one more year, established under third stimulus, broadened under fourth stimulus for my essential workers. The EIC, hope you got it last year if you're an essential worker. Now you can get it as well, again, under fourth stimulus. $3,600 check for the children. The CTC, established under third stimulus, extended under fourth stimulus. $4,000 of elder care got into the fourth stimulus, Build Back Better. $4,000 of care for young children. What about nutrition? Got in there as well. What about college students? They got $550 checks from the Pell Grant. Electric cars, they got that in there as well. $12,500 for the purchase of your first electric car. Then they got money in there to repair your home if you live in a low-income community. It's huge. That is the first of three clusters of checks in the Build Back Better Act. Now, the first add-on is a shocker because it is so wonderful. A little bit less than $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. That got it in there via Maxine Waters here from Southern California. Given to the escrow agent at the time of the close of escrow in your name for the federal government, that is a little bit less than $25,000. Huge. Let's now turn to the excitement of the second cluster in the Build Back Better Act, starting right now. Paid leave got in there, and home repairs. Paid leave is a lot of money, folks. What is it? Is if you have to stay home due to sickness or illness from work. W-2 1099, you get it. How much? If you make $75,000 or more per year, $1,500 a week, $1,700 a week. Split it in half, $35,000 annual salary, $800 a week. Split it in half again, $15,000 annual salary, then $400 a week. That's 4 to 6 weeks per year. Yes, that's incredible. About $4,000 to $6,000 a year. Now, if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work and has to take you to the doctor, then they get the check on behalf of the household. And there you go. The second check in this second cluster of the Build Back Better Act. Let's look at that check right now. That is the home repairs to weatherize your home. Hold up right there. Shocker. And we're just 7 minutes into the video. It's now law. It is now law, folks. The President of the United States saw that weatherizing your home check in the Build Back Better Act at the second cluster, said, I don't want to wait any longer for this to become a law in the Congress with the bill. I'm taking it out, and I'm putting it into executive order, and I'm making it a law. And he did. March 31st. And where have we seen that check before? We saw it in the opening remarks of this video. That is check A. A of the three checks is now law. And how do you get it? It's coming up later in this video. That check A, $6,500, is now law. Made law March 31st by the President of the United States to weatherize your home. Wow. Let's continue back where we were with Build Back Better Act in that second cluster. Now let's go into the second add-on. The second add-on of checks comes from Bob Casey, a little bit less than $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Wow, that is incredible. That was a Joe Biden promise for campaigning for president and got it in there via Bob Casey. Let's go to the third cluster checks where we find true deliciousness. Free internet for all checks, farmers checks, independent contractors checks, and then seniors getting lots of checks. They're getting dental checks, vision checks, hearing checks, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 55, and then providing a big workaround plan. 12 Republican states vowed to never provide insurance. Now, uninsured low-income individuals in the 12 Republican holdout states will have a workaround plan that'll provide them subsidized home health insurance, which is incredible when we're talking about adding checks to this Build Back Better Act. The other checks that the senators represent they would add in there on the Build Back for Stimulus Recon are, of course, what you know, MSC, which stands for Monthly Stimulus Check. Now, who gets this? The legislators represent to the viewership of this channel that if you got a third, you get this one. Single individual, $75,000 or less, got it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you get it as well, double it. Family of four, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you get the fourth stimulus check just like you got the third. How many checks? How much? They represent they would give the legislators $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for 6 months, totaling about $7,000. And that, my friends, is the Build Back Better Act, the fourth stimulus recon, and not law yet, still in the Senate. And that first check taken out by Joe Biden, made by executive order just a few days ago. Now, we're not done there yet, because guess what? Joe Biden took out another check from Build Back Better Act, and that is check B. $15,000 to $80,000 check became law March 4th, 2022. Joe Biden took it out of Build Back Better Act. How do you get it? It's coming up later in this video. Get your pen and paper ready and become a member right away. Then, you just saw the MSC check from Build Back Better for some recall, but get ready. Because while that check, Build Back Better, is just 6 months, 7,000. Look at C, 12 months, 24,000. That is what viewers are getting now for an MSC from where? The third stimulus. It's coming up later in this video. I told you we have a lot in today's recording, but first let's go over what you need to know about SS300. Then we'll go over the breaking news about what happened about Build Back Better Act and SS300 tonight. First, what is SS300? SS300 was the campaign promise by Joe Biden and then incorporated into his presidential platform to raise your benefits up by swapping out COLA for inflation. COLA is your current benchmark that's reassessed every December, and it doesn't move where inflation is high, real high. In fact, it's the highest price point now of a generation. I had predicted it last year. Fed Reserve Chair Jay Powell said it's going to be 2% and temporarily high. I said, no way. All last year I said it was going to be 8% in December, and it was. January, 8%. Did not go down as I had predicted. So where are we tonight on that inflationary number? Hard to say. But if you look at the 10-year Treasury note and the bond traders, they think it's actually higher. I so subscribe to that theory. January, December, February, 8%, maybe a little bit higher than 8% right now. So what does this mean? It means if Joe Biden swapped out your benefits of COLA to inflation right today, you'd lock in $200 more per month. Not just this month, not just this year, lifetime. Because that's the way benefits work. Once they go up, they never go down. So Joe, make that phone call right today. Hashtag Joe, make the call. What about later this year? Because remember, your benefits are reassessed in December. If inflation tracks at 4%, you get another $100 in December, lifetime. So where is it supposed to track in the next 30 days, the next 60 days? And what about later this year? First, let's deal with later this year. This is where it gets fascinating. This guy, Jay Powell, is the head of the Federal Reserve, and he said no less than 30 days ago that he thought that inflation by his volition would get down to about 4% later this year. Good. That's an additional $100 on top of your existing benefits. But then this month of March, last month of March, he said it's going to get down to 1.9%. Not good. That's about $10 more, not $100 more. So where are we on the situation tonight on where inflation is going, where Jay Powell is going, and where SS300 and Build Back Better Act are going as well? They go hand in hand with the economic data tonight. And let me explain to you why. Build Back Better is a stimulus package. SS300 is dependent on inflation. And both of those things are moving very quickly. What's going on? The way they do stimulus packages in Congress is that when the economy is missing, they push for more money for you. When the economy looks too strong, then they don't push as hard. So what's a miss and what's a beat? A miss, for example, is if we're looking at the growth of the U.S. economy next year, and we predict 7% and it comes in at 6%, that's a miss, and miss by 1%. But if it comes in at 10%, that's a beat. So where are we tonight? Tonight, we had two economic numbers that came out today, folks. And unlike the last 7 days that were all misses, today they were major beats. So this is where it gets a little dicey, and this is why it takes a second to breathe in. Remember, we look at all the data. We don't just look at one day. For example, if you're just looking at today's data, you say, oh, the data's all good. No. The data was all bad leading up to today. Let's go over where we were leading up today. In the last 7 days, the housing numbers, bad. New home starts, missed. 4 consecutive months in a row, down. Mortgage industry surging to its highest price point of a generation, 5%. No one can afford to mortgage a house at 5%. Then we had also the GDP number, the growth number for the U.S. economy, a miss, 6.9% from a 7.1% projection. And now some analysts are projecting 4% later this year. Major miss on that one. We're not done with our misses across the board. We also had misses with the yields, the inversion curves, and other items as well. So what number came in today and what number shocked everyone across the board? The unemployment numbers came in today, folks, and they were 166,000 new unemployment claims for the week before and 1.7 million continuing unemployment numbers. Now, if you've not been with this channel since day one, you will not understand the magnitude of those numbers. This channel launched on April 25th, 2020, and while I was not covering unemployment numbers until about a month later, I covered them every Thursday on this channel, every single day, every single week for 1 year. Now, as we approach 2 years, I've been doing it for 2 years. And what have we learned? The week before we went to the major COVID lockdown, we are tracking about 200,000 new unemployment claims per week. Then when COVID hit, in late March, we surged to over 1 million unemployment claims per week. The continuing unemployment claims, which is people who were unemployed the week before and continue to be unemployed, surged to 17.8 million a week ago today. A week ago in 2021, which was actually not as bad as 2020, the number was 17.8 million. Where's the number tonight? 1.7 million. In fact, the number is even better because guess what? For every unemployed person continuing unemployment claim, there is 6 jobs unfilled. 5 to 6 jobs are available for every unemployed person in the United States, with 200,000 new unemployment claims, 166,000 new unemployment claims, a major drop from last week at 200,000, the lowest number of unemployment claims since 1968. So that is a major beat. Does that mean that stimulus is not happening? No. Because what we're looking at when we're looking at all the situation for stimulus, Build Back Better, and SS300, we're looking at all the economic data. So let's analyze it step by step, starting right now. First, we're going to go over Build Back Better. Build Back Better involves a lot of permutations besides unemployment numbers. And Build Back Better involves around the situations like standard of living, cost of living. And if you can't afford to live, even though you have a job, you still need stimulus. That's the concept of Build Back Better. That is why the economic data over the last 7 days that hasn't been amiss supports Build Back Better to get passed. That is number one. Number two, many insiders believe that Build Back Better Act will get done in the next 30 days because it needs to get teed up now as recessionary pressures continue to surge. But let's look at the SS300 because, folks, this is where it gets a little bit more confusing. SS300 is based upon inflation, and you know that if they lock in that inflationary number right now, you get 8%. But what if they don't? Where is inflation going? And what is happening with inflation? Let me give you the analysis and first the comments. The comments and the trajectory is changing by the minute. If you're watching this channel no less than a month ago, your head of the Federal Reserve, Jay Powell, said that he was going to do a quarter basis interest rate rise at the next March FOMC meeting and continue at a quarter basis point indefinitely, and actually mentioned several numbers of months. Then the March meeting happened. And at that March meeting, he made a series of changes. Number one, he said, I'm going to do a quarter basis point, but I'm going to do it for 6 meetings. And then he said that we're going to get inflation down by the end of the year, not to 4%, but 1.9%. That was a change. That was the day of the March meeting. Then a week later, he said, maybe I was a little too weak. We'll have to maybe do a half basis point. Whoa, that was a change then. All last week, and I said that Jay Powell's going to do 2 half basis point increases over the next 2 meetings. And I said, I don't think he can maybe get inflation down to anything below 4%. Then today and yesterday, Fed governors like Bullard, the aggressive Fed governor out of St. Louis, said we need to do 300 basis point increase on interest rates throughout the year. Folks, that is 6 meetings at a half basis point. 6.5, not 1.5. Ouch. So what's the takeaway for SS300? Very, very fluid because of 2 permutations. One, I don't know if they're going to get inflation down when they do an interest rate spike. That analysis has been discussed on this channel before. A lot of insiders believe that what Jay Powell is going to do won't work and will not reduce inflation. That's fascinating, and if that's the case, it helps your benefits. Number 2, how quickly does what Jay Powell do impact the inflationary numbers? Is it a 30-day turnaround or is it a 60-day turnaround? The takeaway for you folks is that you want Joe Biden to make that swap and call it inflation right tonight because this is really too hard to project. It's very hard to predict because, one, we don't know if Jay Powell has the tools Number two, we have those recessionary pressures. Number three, we don't know if Jay Powell's going to change by the minute, by the hour, as he's changed no less than 3 times in 30 days from now. My takeaway is that I think we're fine through late April for Joe to make that swap from cola to inflation. By May, that's where it gets a little bit dicey. Why play games of dice with your money? Why wait around and roll the dice as to what's going to happen with Build Back Better Act in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever it is, and wait for those checks when you can cash checks, big checks, right now? And that is the true spirit of the Purple Hawks. So let's get a preview of those checks right now. They're coming up right after the commercial break. 3 major checks that have now landed. Are you ready to get them? They are huge. A $6,500 check, a $15,000 to $80,000 check, and an MSC, 12 months. Wow. First, a $6,500 check becoming the law on March 31st, 2022. That was a check that was in the second cluster of the Build Back Better Act. The President of the United States took it out and made it a law. How do you get it? It's coming up in just a second. Then a $15,000 to $80,000 check, stimulus check, became a law on March 4th. It has been alive now for over 5 weeks. How do you get it? It's coming up as well after the commercial break. That was also in fourth stimulus. Meantime, a C check was under third stimulus. And it's great news tonight. Why? Because fourth stimulus proposes an MSC for check for 6 months. Folks, this is an MSC check that's averaging 12 months. It's under third stimulus, and how do you get them? It's coming up in the second half of this video. It's all those incredible details featured in the membership newsletter. Have you become a member? Go to the top of the chat and the pinned comment. Become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP member tonight. Then get that membership newsletter right after tonight's video, Monday through Friday. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, sent via the YouTube alert system, so that you can get these incredible 3 checks right now. In the second half of this video, a lot of major developing details still coming up. We're going to go over the issue about stagflation and the confusing situation on that student loan debt. 3 options for the president. Which one will you choose on May 2nd? We'll be looking a little bit more at those interest rates and what that means for Build Back Better Act and also for the SS300. Then we'll be looking at those recessionary concerns as Jay Powell, the president, was all supposed to address this under 6 stimulus, but is it going to address? What's the situation tonight on the commodity front? Major developing news tonight for April 7, 2022 on commodities. Then the Congress approved today the banning of Russian products, but what has Germany done? I'll look at 6 stimulus in tonight's recording. Then save the final minutes of this video because we have some big surprises across the board. And then we also analyze the situation of what's coming up later the next few days. Major developing details, but first, after the commercial break, we'll go over those 3 checks. Those incredible 3 checks you want to get, A, B, and C. Become a member during the commercial break, and I'll see you back in 60 seconds. But first, here's a little bit about the members community page. As a Big Evenings LA continues, I'll see you back in 60 seconds with all the incredible details from the shores of Santa Monica, California. We're just getting started tonight. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement Continues on a big evenings LA tonight for April 7th, 2022. A lot of major breaking, developing details and news that impacts your wallet. We'll go over that in just a second. Did you become a member during the commercial break? I hope you did, because we're going to go on those big checks, A, B, and C, in just a second. Then we'll be turning to that 6 stimulus to battle recession, 7 stimulus to deal with student loan debt forgiveness, and then we'll be going back to Build Back Better Act, because I got more data and more economic breaking news tonight, and SS300 front as well. Major developing details. Let's say the final minutes of this video, because I have a big surprise for you at the end. Big details and big money. We're going to go over all the incredible details starting right now. First, we're going to go into the broad stroke of those 3 checks, A, B, and C. Number 1, they're law. Number 2, they've landed in people's hands. Number 3, you can get them as well. And number 4, we're going to go over them right now. A was a $6,500 check made law on March 31st, 2022, called the Home Weatherizing Grant Check. B was a $15,000 to $80,000 check that made law on March 4th. For purposes of this channel, I call it the Homeowners Grant. And number C was a $24,000 approximate MSC check. Average viewer of this channel has gotten $45,000 from C, but in recent days, viewers have gotten $2,000 a month over 12 months. Many viewers have gotten over $150,000. What's collective among A, B, and C is that you are all covered. One of these checks is for you. Number 2, they're all grants, meaning you have to repay them. They're not income, any of them, meaning it does not disqualify you from benefits, and there's no loans involved, so there's no credit check. With all that great news, let's get our pen and paper ready to take notes and go into the first check, A. A is a $6,500 check. Well, in some states, they're offering $12,000 for this. What is this? This was a 4 stimulus check in the Build Back Better Act second cluster for that weatherizing, now taken out by executive order and now law. What is it? We call it on this channel the Home Weatherizing Grant Check. And what is the income qualification? Very easy. The income qualification is the same as a third stimulus check. So let's recap who got a third and who can get this as well. Single individual, $75,000 less, you can get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you can get it. Family of 4, you can get it as well. And if you're on benefits like veterans benefits or VA benefits or SSI or SSDI or Social Security, you can get it as well. That is the first check. And then the question is, how do you get it? You become a member. You become a member and open that membership newsletter. How do you become a member? You go to the top of the chat and you also go into the description of the video and become a Purple Hawk Power, Purple Hawk, or Calcino VIP. And with that, you get the incredible membership newsletter Monday through Friday, right after Evenings LA. At 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Central, and 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Trying to remember all the time zones. And that incredible newsletter features all the big monies and certainly starts with Check A. How does it look in that membership newsletter? Well, in the newsletter, it's going to say the $6,500 Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. And under that, it's going to have a description of it. And then you're going to click the link and it's going to send you into the federal website. Then you click your state, like Alabama. Then you click the Weatherizing Grant Check. And there you go. You're going to apply Alabama Weatherizing Grant Homeowners Program. Mississippi Weatherizing Homeowners Program. Very simple. Viewers have gotten their application on file and you're ready to pounce as a Purple Hawk right tonight. Again, $6,500 check for stimulus law, and viewers are getting it. That is the first of 3 checks. Now let's look at Check B. Check B resembles A in many regards, but in other regards, it's quite different. Check A was for weatherizing the home. Check B is for nearly a lot of other things. So let's go over B right now. B is a check of $15,000 to $80,000, so it's a lot more money. Number 2, it was a 4 stimulus check as well, taken out by executive order by Joe Biden, now law. Number 3, eligibility is the same as Check A. Single individual, $75,000 less, you can get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you can get it. If you're VA, if you're on Social Security, you can get it as well. You just have to own your own home. So how do you get this check? You go right into that membership newsletter, and this check will be listed right after Check A. This has a longer name, longer homeowners grant name, then it'll feature all the items you can use the money for, like home repairs and other great items not covered in this video. And then I'll have a link to apply, an online website. Send you right into this federal website, which then you see a map. You click the map to click onto your state, and you pounce and you apply. Viewers have gotten their checks. Viewers are tracking at about 66,000 to 80,000 on these checks. They're getting them a week after approval, and viewers have gotten approval, and they've gotten the checks. Huge. I had one viewer who got over $100,000 from third stimulus, listened to this video, and then got that check as well. Can you get overlapping checks on this channel? Absolutely. I've gotten some questions the last 24 hours. What about home definition and weatherizing definition? My takeaway is don't wait, just apply. Listen to the recording, go to the website, apply. Don't think about it too much. The website will tell you answers to your questions about mobile home versus not mobile home, which type of weatherizing, which is versus what other type. The takeaway is you don't want to wait 1 day, 1 hour to apply, because every day thousands of people in your state get in front of you in line. So become a member right tonight, get that newsletter tonight, get that application in tonight, and pounce, because thousands of people apply every day and the programs will run out on money. Earlier today on the Home Edition live on air, I had one very nice viewer said, in my one state, and we know which state it is, they ran out of money. Again, there's only really one state that ran out of money. And I said, that's why I teach viewers to pounce as soon as it becomes law. I've been featuring Check B on this channel for 5 weeks. I said, I don't want to hear from you in 5 weeks saying you ran out of money because you want to get it tonight. And when I check back with you in 8 weeks, there will be more states out of money. So don't wait, get those checks tonight. Which then brings us to Check C. Check C is different than A and B in many regards. If you're a homeowner, which check can you get? If you're a homeowner, you can get check A, B, and C. If you're a renter, you can get C. And then everything else, you can get whatever you qualify for. So let's go over the incredible details of C. C is a monthly stimulus check where viewers do it a little bit differently than A and B. A and B involve going to a website. C does not. It involves using your telephone. You don't need a computer. You don't need a laptop. You don't even need a cell phone. You can do it with an old rotary telephone in the kitchen nook. Does anyone say nook anymore? I just said it, nook. You can do this with nooking into the kitchen nook and using the old rotary phone to get this third check of C. So what is that third check of C? Let's look at it right now. MSC, baby. MSC like you never wished before. Fourth Stimulus Recon has an MSC, but it's only 6 months. As the legislators represent they will do. And that's $7,000 as they represent they will do. Look at this. You don't have to worry about people's representations. This is law. This is law, baby. $2,000 a month over 12 months is what it's averaging right now tonight. Now, a lot of viewers have gotten on average $45,000. A lot of viewers have gotten over $150,000. What is it? It's rent, it's utilities, it's mortgages, it's more. And how do you get these big checks? You get pen and paper ready. If you're a member, it's featured in the newsletter. If you're not a member, then follow along. There's 6 places you want to reach out to if you're not a member. Take notes starting right now. You want to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, and your county housing authority. And the keywords you're going to, and your state hall and your state housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. There you go. You don't say MSC. You don't say things they don't know like waivable check or lobster shorts. And you pounce. You pick up the phone and you call. And there you go. Now, if you're a member, you got an extra benefit because guess what? The members have an additional 5 to 6 other places to reach out to. And they are the nonprofits. I've been doing this since 2020. And across every single state, whether it's the nonprofits or the government agencies I just showed you, everyone gets covered. There's a coverage on this across the board. Average view of this channel over the last few weeks, $2,000 over 12 months. But before that, viewers are tracking about 45,000 and some viewers are getting over 150,000. There you go. C, you can use it with an old rotary telephone in the kitchen nook. And A and B, well, you need to have access to the internet. You can also do it over your cell phone if you have a cell phone. And there you go. Very, very fascinating across the board. How then do you get these checks? Wow, you want to become a member. You want to become a member, so go right into that link at the top of the chat to become a member right tonight. The membership link at the top of the chat or bottom of the chat sends you to the membership page. Become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Then get that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. On the East Coast, that's 10 o'clock. In the Central Standard Time, it is 9 o'clock. And again, it's Monday through Friday. And there you go. Pounce, Purple Hawks. We'll have more about these checks in just a second. Now let's turn to the developing details about 6 stimulus and 7 stimulus and cut back to 4th and 3rd and also the developing details about that SS300. First, let's go over 7 stimulus. President of the United States has 3 choices for May 2nd. So says his chief of staff. 1, do nothing with student loan debt forgiveness and just let people fend for themselves and remove the moratorium on repayment, saying, start paying me back and I'm not going to help you. Does Joe Biden have that as an option? I don't think he will do that as an option. So I think that one's gone. The second option is do nothing and say, I need more time to think about this student loan debt forgiveness issue. Give me a few more weeks. I think this is an option. Number 2. And number 3, forgive it. Just forgive it and let's move on. I think this is a very big likelihood. Why? Because Joe Biden's education secretary under Obama Biden said Joe can do it. He says Joe knows he can do it. We passed this as a law during Barack's time that allows the executive branch to forgive student loan debt. So Joe knows he can do it. He's just waiting to do it. And that $50,000, folks, is on the table. Who'd challenge it? Senators. Who? Republican senators. They don't have enough votes. It would fail in 10 seconds. So Joe has that big opportunity. That is 7 stimulus. That is May 2nd, right around the corner. Then, let's look at the situation for 5th stimulus. Where we are on 5th stimulus tonight is there is no inherent bill set up yet for 5th stimulus. That is for our SSI reform. That is why you want that SS300 to happen now. You want to make that swap and correlate inflation. Joe, make the call. Hashtag Joe, make the call. Go on social media, tag the president, because you don't want to wait for inflation to come down. Folks, this is easy breezy analysis. You know inflation will go down. The only question is how quickly. Don't roll the dice on this. Have Joe make the swap from correlate inflation right tonight and lock in as the record high inflation. I got to tell you, it's April 7th, and in a few weeks, inflation will not be 8%. So make that swap tonight to get that lock in of $200 a month. Not just this month, not just this year, but lifetime. I have more about that analysis in just a second. But let's go over the other details tonight, which is 6 stimulus. This is where it gets really dicey tonight, folks. Really dicey. What is 6 stimulus? Let's understand what it is, where it's going, and what happened. So 6 stimulus was the president's creation. Why? He understood day one of the Vladimir Putin invasion of Ukraine that we cannot, as an economy, buy Russian products. So what did he do? He had Anthony Blinken, his Secretary of State, reach out to Germany to get off of Russian products. They said no, week 1 of the invasion. Then he reached out to France. They said no. Then Blinken pushed back, and then everyone changed push and mode. And Germany said, yes, I'll get off of Russian products. The White House's pitch is you must morally get off of Russian products. And France agreed. Then it lined up 6 stimulus. Why? Because Germany and France agreed the way to do this is a trifecta of progressive alliance. Seemingly with an April deadline, because we're going to look for Macron's re-election in April. He's the president of France. And if that happens, then we have Macron, we have the Chancellor of Germany, we have Joe Biden in the United States. Deficit spending and then a stimulus out because you cannot afford gasoline prices consistently at the levels they are. And you can't afford wheat and grain caused by Vladimir Putin to go through these levels indefinitely. Very simple until later last week. When did it get dicey? It got dicey later last week, when a series of events happened that simply are baffling. Remember, 6 stimulus is the battle of Vladimir Putin. Putin caused these recessionary environments, not just in the United States, but internationally. And to solve that, so what happened across the board? Number 1, Germany said, we changed our mind. We're still staying on those Russian products. Excuse me? Now, let's understand, Germany is a society that economically doesn't do the same stuff as we do. They think differently. So when they agreed with us, that was good. But then when they pivoted off, then that was not good. So is the 6 stimulus an allegiance of 3 countries? It may just be the United States. That was number 1. Then number 2 was, we understood that 6 stimulus was because we cannot afford price of gasoline indefinitely at this hot level, cannot afford the wheat and grain, the commodities, these levels. We need to fix these situations. Good. And as we strive to fix the situations, we get allegiances. Good. Until last Friday. Last Thursday, as the president addressed the American people, said, I have a solution for your oil prices. We looked at him and thought, did he just say that? It makes no sense. Let's go over what's going on. The first prong of six stimulus is solving the situation for oil, because the situation for six stimulus is you cannot afford prices of gasoline at $4 a gallon indefinitely. And we're going to give you six stimulus while we fix it. Hear me right? While we fix it. Well, gasoline is still at $4.24 a gallon. It hasn't come down. Has the White House fixed it? No. What happened with the White House? There's a thing called the strategic reserves, how much gasoline the U.S. has stored up. It's like in a storage room, barrels of gasoline. So the president said, I'm going to fix the price of gasoline, bring it down for you by releasing 1 million barrels a day from the strategic reserves. Does that work? No way. It doesn't work. Who told him it works? Let's explain. Gasoline shortage is not just in the United States, it's internationally. Let's choose 50 countries. Let's say there's 50 countries that have a gasoline shortage. If one country says, oh, I have some in storage, let me release some. Does that bring down the price of gasoline internationally? No, because there's 49 countries still with a shortage. The gasoline price you're paying at the pump is caused by the international price of gasoline, caused by the international shortage of gasoline. So if we release some gasoline here, to sort of make it feel good, it doesn't help the price of the pump at all. And so that's not a solution. What was the solution? We had one. As the President of the United States had been negotiating for 15 plus years, the JCPOA, the agreement with Iran to disarm their nuclear arsenal in exchange for us to remove the embargo on their oil. That's where the big oil comes from. 1.5 million barrels per day by December. 1 million barrels right now are 500,000 barrels to bring us down to the price levels of gasoline 15 years ago. Big win. Until the deal didn't get done. What happened? Hard for us to know. I detailed last night in LALATE that I had to go to an international news site that covers oil only to find an off-the-hand remark that explained the deal was about to be signed and then no one knows why it was not signed. And the deal was actually being negotiated by Germany on our behalf. Really shocking. What's shocking is the President of the United States did not address this during his press conference. What did he also say to that press conference? He said that the way we're going to get the price of gasoline down is also by having our Western allies release some of their gasoline they have stored up. Oh, isn't that a brilliant idea? It is a brilliant idea. Only if they have gasoline stored up and they don't. Italy has zero gasoline stored up. They don't have oil wells. They have olive oil wells. And then in the case of countries like Germany, you wonder why they have 60, 70, 80% of the gasoline coming from Russia, because they don't have any reserves. That's why they can get off of the Russian oil. They would have gotten off the Russian oil if they had reserves. Really shocking across the board. So is there a solution with the White House? There is no solution with the White House. And this is where I start to shake my head. Because you and I did the analysis on this last year. Before Halloween 2021, I told you the biggest economic story of 2022 will be these confusing 100,000 Russian troops at the Ukrainian border. Before Halloween, I said, what are they doing there? If they invade Ukraine, that's our economic story. Who also heard that? Janet Yellen. Because we know that the president told her that. He said if they invade, what's the economic turmoil that's going to cause? Analyze it for oil. Good, they analyzed it. Did they get a solution? No. Did they get Venezuela, the number one producer of oil, to release oil? No. Did they get OPEC to release oil? No. What did they get in the last 24 hours? They got the leaders of the major U.S. oil refinery companies to be paraded in Washington before Congress to explain, why are you allegedly price gouging? Really? I mean, you got to do that, but that's not a solution. The evil empire is Vladimir Putin. The causes is his shortage of oil. Parading a lot of people before Congress is not the way to get oil released. You get oil released by getting deals done. Getting it from Iran or Iraq or OPEC or somewhere, Venezuela. Those guys on Capitol Hill, they don't have any more oil. Parading them on Capitol Hill makes no sense. Although it solves price gouging, maybe, but it doesn't solve our recessionary pressures. Tonight, another concern. And boy, is it big. It's exactly what yours truly, the purple guy, has been saying since day one of this now 2-month war. You can think you have a solution for oil, but do you have a solution for bread? It's times like this that you don't want to go on a low-carb diet, because guess what? You may have to. What's going on? A new report today says that the price of commodities, which includes bread, is not even done going up. Oh boy, it's already $7 a loaf, nationwide average, according to AAA Travits. They do not track bread. Someone has to track bread. That's a new industry. If you want to get a new business, track the price of bread loaves nationwide, unleaded and leaded bread, or olive bread. I don't know what they would call it. It's tracking at about $7 a loaf. It will go up another 40%, says a new analyst report tonight. We do have that data. That's saying that Wall Street has not embedded the risk on that number. Oh boy. JP Morgan Chase says raw materials may surge an additional 40% from its current levels. 40% more from its current levels? You've been watching as a member of this channel. I feature the price of grain and soybean and corn in the membership newsletter, and that is at a 10-year high, folks. The new statement from JP Morgan Chase is we could go up another 40%. At issue is, if you've not been a viewer of this channel, just found this channel, all the wheat and grain from the Middle East and countries like Egypt, like 40%, comes from, yes, Ukraine. And they can't harvest the wheat in Ukraine right now because they're defending their country. They can't prepare the soil for next year because they're defending their country. So this season lost, next season lost, potentially many seasons if the crops are being destroyed by cluster bombing. So that is a major concern, and that's a risk we don't know. Fiona Chianota, who's senior market analyst at Citi Index, says, the war in its position has been priced into the market, but what Putin does thereafter, we don't know. That is a real big situation because no one knows how many crops are going to be lost in the eastern section of Ukraine. And that is a very Putinish and a very agrarian analysis that Wall Street analysts don't know. What else do we not know? We also don't know, did Putin pay his debts? Remember that April 4th deadline? Yeah. $2 billion of principal repayments. Did Putin make the payments? No one asked. Did anyone ask that? They did not ask. I tried, but I don't have a newsroom with 500 people and staff in 20 cities. The stations that do didn't ask the question. So we're going to find out in the next few days if Putin defaulted on those debts. And guess what? You will see it. You will see it in the corporate earnings from the U.S. banks coming in the next 2 days. They're going to report their corporate earnings. And if they have major losses, get ready for those announcements in those corporate earnings. The situation is very fluid tonight with so many twists and turns across the board. That was the first situation, was the surge of those commodities. Then we have the comments coming in on those treasury yields. The treasury yields climbed 4 basis points today again, after climbing 20 basis points 3 days before. The 10-year treasury tonight, folks, is 264. Can you imagine? It was 180 just a few days ago, 1.8%. It's 2.64%. If you have debt, if you have credit card payments, if you have student loan debt, if you have car payments, if you have an adjustable rate mortgage, you're going to feel this really bad. And then we have Art Hogan. Art Hogan is a great guy, really smart guy, chief market analyst, strategist at National Security, says the clear vision of cadence and tempo of rate hikes among the Federal Reserve and balance sheet reductions shows that as a hawkish commentary should be less volatile should be fairly less volatile. Fed has delivered a concise monetary roadmap that is inside street consensus. Do I agree? Absolutely not. I don't agree whatsoever. The Federal Reserve this week said that he's going to remove $1 trillion off of its balance sheet. But the Federal Reserve is literally changing by the minute. It is literally changing by the minute. If you've been watching this channel every single day this week, we had Jay Powell just a few days ago. A quarter is fine. Then Jay Powell, maybe not a quarter, maybe half. Then the Fed governor said, yeah, maybe 1/2. Then maybe 2 halves. Now we have Bullard's, yeah, maybe 6 half raises. Art Hogan saying, yeah, we all know what they're going to say. No, they don't even know what they're saying. They're changing by the hour. And you and I don't know if any of this will get down inflation. What we do know is we're going to recession, or are in recession. As I've been reporting for over a month now, in my opinion, this U.S. economy has 2 industries are in recession, and the remainders will go into recession by 2023. What's at issue? Recession starts industry by industry and geography by geography. And in this case, I believe that the U.S. housing industry is already in recession along with the auto industry. I believe other industries will follow, and they will be fully into recession in 2023 for a 2-year recession that will emerge by 2024. In my opinion, the East Coast will go first, and then the West Coast will go last. West Coast will be last out. East Coast will be first out. What's at issue? The housing industry is upside down right at the moment, and in many regards is in a bubble environment. Number one, Housing starts down 4 consecutive months in the best time of the year to sell a house. You always sell in the spring, you know that. So this is the time not to have a big hit. Number two, the costs are going through the roof. You buy the home, you want to repair it. You can't, it's too expensive, materials and labor. You buy a plot of land, you want to build it, you can't, same reason. You try to buy it on the buy side, you can't afford it, it's 5%. Everyone with all those crazy comments, like that one real estate analyst I had on Tuesday said, oh, everyone's paying cash, it's fine, for $6 million apartments in New York. Excuse me? That is where bubbles burst. That fake notion that we saw with the tech bubble in the 90s, where everything is great and we're always going to be great. No. That is a lacking of fundamentals today. If you saw what happened today, Warren Buffett, by chance, this is off the cuff, Warren Buffett today, his Berkshire Hathaway investments bought another larger stake in Hewlett Packard. Why? It's a boring stock that has good fundamentals and slowly goes up and pays a nice dividend. If you look at Warren Buffett's stocks today, his own stock done the same thing. It's beating the S&P because it has fundamentals, normal numbers in an environment which things are very topsy-turvy. So when you look at six stimulus, it could happen and should happen in April, but what the president's doing right now is very, very upside down. Now, let's go back to you, your money, and where your finish line as well is tonight. I see some great comments and great questions and also some thoughts and prayers that viewers have passed over in recent days. So I want to share them with you. Number one, the telephone and the computer. Got a lot of questions about that. When you look at A, B, and C, those three checks, what do you need to know? Do you need a computer for A, B, and C? No. If you have a cell phone that has internet connection, you can do A, B, and C on that cell phone. If you're just doing C, you can do it without even a cell phone. You can do it with an old rotary phone in the breakfast nook. Number three, I've had people who say, I'm a senior, I'm 80 years old, I don't know how to use the computer. Great, get C. C is one of the biggest checks of this channel. Viewers are averaging over 150,000. You know how to pick up the phone and call your grandson. You know how to pick up the phone and call your daughter-in-law. Well, you know how to pick up the phone and call your county housing authority. Hi, my name is, I need rent assistance because of COVID. Utility assistance because of COVID. You're calling the 6 places and the other 5 places that are in the membership newsletter. You know how to make a phone call. You can get C. Next, I've had some people talk about the future. Don't do that. Because in an environment like this, as Art Hogan says, we know the future. We don't know the future, Art. We don't know. Situation's very fluid when we talk about Jay Powell. Situation's very fluid when we talk about Congress. Why? You know, this is not 2020. This is not even 2022. It looks like this is not even last year. This doesn't even look like it's this year. Why? This channel, the economic data, is changing almost 24 hours on the hour. It looks like the economy is missing on housing, missing on auto sales. Auto sales are way down, way down. Big trouble for auto industry. It looks like the growth national product of the economy is stalling, that we're shrinking as economy. And then we have the unemployment numbers come in today. Absolute out of the ballpark. Hits and out of the ballpark. Best numbers we've seen since 1968. Excuse me? So what's going on? It's a very, very confusing economic environment. And then we have Jay Powell in there trying to do stuff that he changes on positions every 24 hours, and we don't even know if what Jay Powell says he can he even do it. I've been covering that on this channel as well. Whatever Jay Powell says, like he says he can get inflation down to 4% later this year, then he says 1.9%. I don't think he can get down to 1.9%. A lot of analysts don't think he can either. Because inflation is caused by supply chain. And he doesn't fix supply chain. Supply chain is not fixed by interest rates. We all know that. So that is why it's a very fluid situation. What does this mean for you? What it means for you is that when you're looking out and you're looking at wads of cash that are sitting there in front of you, and those wads of cash have been taken out of Build Back Better Act, and those wads of cash are available for you to get, you get them. You don't sit around and say, I want to talk about something in the future. Well, you can if you got the checks that are available right now, but don't pass up these checks. Don't pass up these checks. Why? Because they're here. We cash checks. We don't track checks. But here's another expression. We cash checks. We don't pass up checks. If there's a check there, you get it. Here's what you also need to know. It's 2022. It's not 2020. You saw those unemployment numbers on today's channel. 6 jobs available for every unemployed person. 2 years ago, it was the reverse. No job for every 6 people. There was literally no jobs and everyone was unemployed. So don't say, I got a stimulus check this way in 2020. Well, guess what? It's 2022. Everything is different. Moreover, why would you opt out for a smaller check that is not happening today when you could have a bigger check today? Look at these big checks. $24,000 of MFCs right today. Averaging this viewership of this channel 12 months over $2,000 a month. Why would you wait for 6 months at $1,000 a pop? First month, $2,000. That's a lot less money. It's not today, and it pales in comparison to all A, B, and C. So get these big checks today. Don't wait. Don't think about it too much. Finally, what's important to know is that the economy is very, very fluid. And when an economy is so fluid and the economic data is often conflicting, that could also cause confusion among congressional leaders. Remember, if the economy is missing, then more congressional leaders want to do items. If the economy is too strong and all beating, then they may want to do less. And the situation of whether we're all misses like we were last week or all beats like we were today, it just depends on what day of the week it is sometimes. And also sometimes how the data is analyzed. Remember in 2020, we had a lot of recordings where Mitch McConnell said the economy is great when it was horrible. We're in the middle of a pandemic. But Mitch was still able to find one economic element that looked good amongst 9,000 that were bad. That's what legislators sometimes do. So ultimately, I want you to cash every check that's available tonight. I want you to grab every check that's available tonight. And I want you to become a member right tonight. Go into this video right now and become a member. Get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Go to the top of the channel and become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Don't wait. The big sums of money are available for you right now, A, B, and C, and then we're just starting. Every day that I find another check, it goes right in the membership newsletter. I pounce as a Purple Hawk, and so should you. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, join me nightly on this channel for America's most watched show in prime time. It's evenings, LA, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. My thoughts and prayers are with the people of Ukraine as this war continues over there into its second month. We're far from over, and we're far from over from your big money. It continues throughout the night. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LALATE for more as the developing details continue throughout the night. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LALATE for more.